Good morning, and thank you for attending Amtrak's Vacation 7 Bucket List Rail Journeys You Need to Experience. My name is Ben Paquet, and I'm very excited to be describing to you what it is to travel like with on Amtrak throughout North America. I'm in just north of Boston. I'm in Beverly, Massachusetts. It's a nice sunny day today. The foliage has started to kick in, and very exciting to be sharing with you my joy of my experience to travel with the Amtrak Vacations. Um, so let's see, let me start with presenting myself a little bit more. I've been working with Amtrak Vacations for 2.5 years. I've been working in the travel industry for 5 years. I'm French American, and I love to travel. I've moved around a lot, France, UK, US, and I really enjoy making recommendations on trips for people. Um, so let's move along. So on the right-hand side of the presentation, there's a little tab there where you can download your handout right there. If you have any questions, feel free to input it into the question box, and we'll be happy to provide you with answers at the end of the presentations. We'll go over them one by one. There'll be no stones that are is left unturned. And we're going to describe to you a very unique way to travel, which is by rail, and how you can see all the beauty that's at our doorstep in the US of A. Ooh, I went a bit too fast there. So what makes Amtrak Vacations different? Well, for many, we surveyed people out, travelers. You've done a variety of packages or trips. Whether it's like ocean cruises, river cruises, small group, large group, escorted tours, all inclusives. And for many, maybe another thing to cross off your list is to experience the U.S. by rail. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to describe traveling on Amtrak across the good old US of A. Now, what makes traveling on by train very unique? You're not focusing on the road driving. You can just sit back, taking all the views as you stroll through the vast country of ours. And there's room to roam on the train. There's you're not confined to your seat or your private compartments. You can walk at your leisure through the cars. There's social areas such as the observation car, cafe car, dining car, and when you want your alone time, your downtime, your privacy, you got the private compartment to go back to, or you could just sit on your nice relaxing seat and just gaze out of the window as you stroll through the beautiful country of ours. Now, it's also less hassle, so you're not, as I said, focusing on the road. It's a leisurely pace. This is your vacation after all. And you're just taking everything in from the perspective of a train. And it's city to city service. You're not having to commute to downtown areas. The train is actually bringing you right into the heart of each and one of these cities. So it's win-win. Uh, and it's also satisfy your hunger. Well, yeah. So as you're doing the trip, our country's so big that to get coast to coast, it's a couple of overnights, a couple of days. So you're actually living, experiencing life on board Amtrak. Um, and we'll look after you. We'll nourish you. There's a dining car for most of these trains that already serve meals. Like all the trains, like west of the Mississippi, there's a dining car where there's attendants that will serve you a variety of dishes to satisfy your hunger. Um, Now, the last point here that I want to convey to you is flexibility. Well, yeah, we're a one-stop shop to cover all your travel needs by rail. That's rail, hotel, and tours. So make it easy on yourself. Give us a call. Call us today, 1-800-268-7252, or go on to www.amtrakvacations.com and explore. Be curious. Go see what we can do. We do over 400 different packages, and that's just not. That's just. There's more. We offer a high level of customization, which we are going to touch on in just a moment. Now, let me go on to my favorite slide of them all. This is the Amtrak Vacation System map. Let's take a look. This is the extent of the Amtrak network throughout the good old US of A. What do we notice here is basically we have Chicago. Chicago is the main hub for Amtrak. And we have the train routes stemming for the most part out of Chicago, going in every corner of the US. Now, west of Chicago, those are really scenic train routes. You're looking at like 2 nights, 3 days, whether it's Chicago to Seattle, Chicago to San Francisco, Chicago to Los Angeles. 3 days on a train to take in all the views and the beauty in our country. East of Chicago, east of the Mississippi, those are trains more to get you from point to point, to tie in dot to dot all the cities on the Northeast corridor in southern USA. So let's go over a bit more in depth are the level of customization that we offer on these packages. We just have to take in consideration, the frequencies of the trains, the train schedules. There's a lot of different options to go to do. And we have expert travel agents here to discuss all those options with you, to go over them with you one by one. And they're just a phone call away, so don't hesitate to give us a call or visit our website. So all vacations can be customized. Start from your hometown, whether you're in Florida or the Carolinas or Texas. Just because the package that you see doesn't start from there doesn't mean that we can't start it from any one of the 400 Amtrak stations throughout the good old US of A. And sometimes you might want to consider flying into a destination. You can do that too. Now that's part of the level of customization that's on offer with Amtrak Vacations, and we're more than happy to discuss those, go over those with you today. So to describe to you a bit the level of customization, I just want to maybe look at one of our packages, one of the best-selling packages, which is the Rails to the Grand Canyon. So what we're looking at here is a package that starts out of Los Angeles and that goes to Arizona. The train leaves pretty late in the day, 6 p.m. in the evening. For those of you that are flying in, that should give you plenty enough time to make it to the train station and maybe do something in the city. LA's got a lot to offer between West Hollywood, Santa Monica, downtown art district. It's a busy city, but there's plenty to do. And the train leaves very conveniently in the evening at 6 p.m. And it's a quick overnight train through to Williams, Arizona. And from there, you have the experience on a train that's not provided by Amtrak, but by the Grand Canyon National Park, which is the Grand Canyon Railway, a very scenic 2.5 hour train ride through to the South Rim, and a more dated train. It could be a steam engine or it could be a Pullman car, and you're going through like landscapes with Ponderosa forests to the South Rim. And once you get to the South Rim, you do 2 nights at a hotel over there. We offer a range of hotels, historical lodges, whether it's the Maswicks Lodge, El Tovar, Bright Angel Lodge, Yavapai Lodge, Kachina Lodge. We do them all. We have contracts with all the properties, and it's easy for us to look at adding more nights if you wish, or reducing the amount of nights. That's the amount of customization that's on offer with Amtrak Vacations. And why not? Why not also think about doing trips back to back? Once you finish your experience at the Grand Canyon, you're taking that overnight train that has you arriving early morning into Los Angeles. You have the whole day ahead of you, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe you want to add a bit more time. Why not do the Los Angeles getaway or the San Diego getaway or Santa Barbara or Paso Robles getaway? We offer a high level of customization, and we have a whole team of experts, consultants to run by those options with you. And they're just a phone call away. So that should describe to you somewhat the level of customization that's on offer with Amtrak Vacations. So you get to see the country from the window of the train, all the beauty that's at our doorstep right here in the US of A. You got big picture windows, or in the observation car, it's enhanced windows, and that you can see a lot easier on either side of the train. In your private compartment, the view might be a little bit one-sided. In coach, you can see on either side, but in the observation car, that's where you want to go and hang out and take in all the beautiful views. Every train in the U.S. has its merits. Not all of them are the same, which is okay. The trains going out west, they're really scenic. You want to see mountains, you want to see coastline, you want to see canyons, you want to see reservations, you want to see sunsets, sunrises in the deserts, sunsets, sunrises in the beautiful cornfields of the Midwest. That's something that's on offer with Amtrak Vacations, and it's something that we enjoy talking about and sharing with our travelers. So all aboard, let's go a bit more in depth on what it is to how it is to travel by rail through the US of A. So let's go here. Let's start with I'm going to go describe to you 7 of the best selling journeys that's on offer with Amtrak Vacations. These are, bucket list trips for many. These are trips of a lifetime. The number 1 best-selling trip is the Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. So we have this package starting in Chicago, which, as I said, is the hub for Amtrak, but we can start it from the Carolinas, from Florida, from Northeast, from Texas. You just let us know where you are based, and we can look at the options starting it from your hometown, or you just can fly into Chicago. Chicago, you have O'Hare, you have Medway. They're like 30 minutes to an hour drive to Union Station or to one of the centrally located hotels that we use that we're contracted with in downtown Chicago. So it's a hop, skip, and a jump away. The train's leaving early afternoon. I think it's 2:15 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, out of Union Station, and it's our California Zephyr train, or the Iron Horse, as I like to call it. And it's an overnight all the way through to Colorado. So you're leaving early in the afternoon. The train's going 70 miles per hour. You're taking in the experience. It's the start of your trip. You're taking in all the views. You're enjoying a nice dinner in the dining car. And then after the first overnight, get yourself up early. That's what I do. I get myself early and I go camp out in the observation car. And I want to witness the sunrise as we arrive into Colorado. Early in the morning, 8 o'clock or so, trains can run on time, ahead of schedule, or they can be delayed too. But usually it's around 8 a.m. that you arrive into Denver, and from there you have a little stop, go grab a coffee in Denver Union Station, get back on board the train, and you go through the Colorado Rockies. The train's going 30 miles per hour through passes up in the Rockies. There's a ton of wildlife to see if you have your eyes peeled, and your dream homes perched on top of the Rockies. And as you're strolling through the Rockies, at some point in the afternoon, you go through Glenwood Springs. We offer a package there in Glenwood Springs. And later on in the day, you're going to be arriving into Grand Junction, Colorado. By the time you arrive into Grand Junction, Colorado, you start seeing the tumbleweed blow down the road. And we offer a package there that we'll discuss later. And it's a really nice day on the train. Denver all the way through to Salt Lake. The train gets to Salt Lake at like 11 p.m. at night, but that whole stretch of rail there, you're glued to the window just looking at amazing scenery. And when you get to Salt Lake City, you do one night in a centrally located hotel in the very affluent town of Salt Lake City, and you do that overnight. The next day you wake up, you have a motor coach transfer, a bus transfer, all the way through to Northwest Wyoming. This commute will take you through Idaho. For those of you that haven't been, that'll be an opportunity to cross off another state off your list of states in the U.S. Now, Yellowstone's definitely one of those bigger national parks that you can't really do in just one day. So tying it back in with the level of customization that we offer, why not add a night or two more into Yellowstone? We could do the upper and the lower loop bus tour. So add more time. We offer properties at Yellowstone that are right outside the west entrance of Yellowstone, or we have like the lodges inside the park, and one of our expert travel consultants can go more in depth with you with regards to that. Now, after you leave Salt Lake City, you get there late in the evening. The train, which had arrived at 11 p.m. a couple of days beforehand, is going to be leaving at 11 p.m. Because it's a daily train. It's going to be an overnight train, and you wake up, get yourself early, see that sunrise in the Nevada desert, and then, at some point in the morning, you'll be in Reno. And then you get into Northern California, just north of Lake Tahoe. What a sight that is. More mountains for you. That goes to show you the beauty of the U.S. The Sierra Nevadas. Go right by Donner's Pass. Sometimes you even have like people that like to share their knowledge of travel that come on board the train and describes to you what it is that you see as you travel on board Amtrak. It's not guaranteed that you'll see them on every departure, but they do come now and again, and it does enhance the experience on board Amtrak. The train's going to arrive late in the day, 4 p.m. in the afternoon, into Emeryville, California. Emeryville, California is just on the other side of the bay from San Francisco. And once you get off the train, there'll be a motor coach that awaits you, and it's a quick motor coach transfer across the bridge, and you're in downtown San Francisco. Now, we have hotels for the most part in Fisherman's Wharf or Union Station, 3-star properties, and then we offer 4 or 5-star properties too. So to meet your needs and your level of comfort and your budget. So you do 2 nights in downtown San Francisco. You can always add more nights if you want. There's a lot of things around in and around San Francisco, whether it's Napa, Sonoma, Carmel, Monterey. But for the purpose of this particular product, I'm going to be discussing the Yosemite trip. So the Yosemite trip is going to be a tour with an expert travel expert guide, shall I say, and it's going to be by motor coach, and he's going to take you to Yosemite. Yosemite is not too far away. It's like a 3-4 hour drive. You're going through the San Joaquin Valley, which is the agricultural center of the USA, of California, should I say. And you're going to go through passes up in the Sierra Nevadas through the old gold mining prospecting country into Yosemite. When you arrive to Yosemite, you'll see, for the most part, all that Yosemite has to offer. But Yosemite being a national park, it's big, it's huge. We'll show you the highlights of Yosemite. So you'll be able to see El Capitan, you'll be able to see Upper and Lower Falls, the Ahwahnee Valley, the Half Dome from a distance. And there'll be an expert guide to describe to you what it is that you're seeing, and he'll be able to share to you his expertise and his love for travel. So it's going to be a long day, but you're going to be able to see it all. And each one of these, major national parks here, it's something, I'll tell you. I've been to some of these national parks multiple times, and it's maybe a nice and easy word to describe it. It's a special experience. There's maybe something to be said about the transformative merits of travel. Sometimes you travel and it can change you, and national parks, I think, does that, in my opinion. So then from San Francisco, you're going to do a very scenic train ride on the Coast Starlight, very scenic stretch of rail down the coast. The train's going to hug the coastline. You're going to see the ocean on one side, all the coastal towns on the other. And then you're going to arrive into downtown LA, right by the art district of LA. You're going to have to do 1 night in a hotel in Los Angeles, not because you want to, because you have to. It's due to the train schedule. The train arrives late in the day, and by the time it arrives to Los Angeles, the Southwest Chief that you would have taken to go to the Grand Canyon has already gone. So you make a day out of it. Go do one of the things that LA has to offer. As I said before, West Hollywood, Santa Monica, the art district. There's enough to do in LA to satisfy anybody's whatever you want to do. So then you leave late in the following day, 6 p.m. You take that Southwest Chief, as I was describing to you for the Rails to the Grand Canyon package, and you arrive early in the morning into Williams, Arizona, and there'll be a quick motor coach transfer from Flagstaff to Williams, and then you have breakfast at the Grand Canyon Railway Depot. We're talking about a nice hearty breakfast. There's an omelet station. There's a number of things to eat. I really enjoyed it. I was there just like 3 weeks ago. It was awesome. And then you come out after breakfast, and they do they put on a little show and dance for you, song and dance, where there's like a cowboy shootout. There's reenactors, entertainers. So they make the experience very an immersive one, which is awesome. And then you're going to board after the little show and dance, the scenic train rides on the Grand Canyon Railway. As I described to you before, it's either like going to be a steam engine or a Pullman car, and you do a 2-hour and 15-minute train ride through to the south, to the south rim of the Grand Canyon, and it brings you right to the south rim, so that you're a hop, skip, and a jump away from the canyon. Jump above the Grand Canyon, but you're there 100 feet away from the Grand Canyon to take in all the views. It's beautiful. Part of the charm of being at the Grand Canyon is that you sit there and you gaze at the void, and as the day goes by, the sun moves, and you see the changing of the colors of the red rock. It's beautiful. It's amazing, and it's massive. It's huge. It's the biggest natural wonder in the U.S. of A. for a reason, and it's not to be missed. So you can do one night, or we can always add more nights if you want to go and explore other things at the Grand Canyon. It's so big that there's bound to be a lot of other things that you can do. For those who aren't faint of heart, we offer helicopter rides, and there's a lot of other things in and around the Grand Canyon. We got Sedona, that's not too far away, Antelope Canyon, Glen Canyon, Lake Powell, as it's also known, and Horseshoe Bend, and just to name a few. There's so many areas of natural wonder in and around the Grand Canyon, and they're not to be missed. So moving along here, what are we talking about? We're talking about the Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. That's 13 days, 12 nights. Rail from point to point, sightseeing tours at each one of these national parks with an expert travel guide to really handhold you the whole way through and share his love and knowledge for travel. And we also have accommodations. We have cloud buying power with hotels at the historical lodges at the national parks and at these cities. And we offer a range of them, like 3 to 5 stars, and they should satisfy everybody's, budget, wallet, level of comfort, shall we say. And then, starting from $2,849. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people get confused with the starting from prices, but all that means is there's so many ways to present the marketing. And so that price is based on double occupancy, and it's based on the least expensive time of year to travel, which is usually the off season. And that would be based on coach accommodation with the entry-level hotels. As I described to you before, this isn't like one size fits all. This is like, what we will tailor make this package to your level of comfort and to your budget needs. So call us today, 1-800-268-7252, or go on to www.amtrakvacations.com. We also have a couple other Grand National Parks trips. There's like 3 different variations of it. You can do the Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Grand Canyon, which is the one I just described to you right there. But there's also one that does Glacier, Yosemite, Yellowstone, Glacier, Yosemite, Grand Canyon. Those are our top selling rail journeys that tap into these areas of natural wonders in the US of A, the national parks. So you're looking at just around like a 2-week-long trip, depending on where you're starting from. And we can definitely explore with you what it is like to start from your hometown, or if you were to fly in. Now let's move along to the next trip. We're going to raise the antes with this one. Grand National Parks Discovery on the California Zephyr. So what an awesome train ride, the California Zephyr. It's my personal favorite. Some people prefer the Coast Starlight. My personal favorite is the California Zephyr, the Iron Horse, as I call it. We're not going to start from Chicago, but we could start it from Chicago. Here, we're doing it on the basis of you flying into Denver. So you fly into Denver, you do 2 nights at a centrally located hotel in the Mile High city of Denver. And you start off with a day trip by motor coach with an expert guide that brings you to the Rocky Mountain National Park. It's an hour north of the Mile High City, and you're going to have a long day on seeing all the wonders of the Rocky Mountain National Park. Another one of these natural parks in the US of A. There's many of them, over 50, and each year they keep on coming out with more and more. But these are like the top ones. So you do 2 nights at a really nice hotel, 3-star, 4 or 5-star, you let us know. And then you do that really scenic stretch of rail from Denver, going through the passes up in the Rockies, wildlife and dream homes galore. And you're going to arrive in the late afternoon, 4 p.m. at Grand Junction, Colorado. Grand Junction, as I described to you before, you start seeing the tumbleweed blowing down the road. And you do 2 nights at like either the Grand Vista Hotel or the DoubleTree by Hilton, or that might be a couple other ones. For that particular location, we have a free shuttle service to the hotel. And you start your stay just outside of, well, just right at the border of Utah and Colorado. And you're going to do this time, not a motor coach tour, but a small group escorted tour where you're no more than 10 people. So it's a lot more intimate. I would say it makes for a lot better experience. And you're going to have a day out in the Moab. I was just there 3 weeks ago. It blew me away. Go see Arches National Parks, all these rock formations in form of arches, Red Rock Country. I felt like I was in the home of Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote with all these balancing rocks to see. There's been countless movies that were shot out there. It makes for a really good and fun day. And then on the same trip with on the small group escorted tour, you'll be taken through to Dead Horse Points, which is a state park, and that's basically the best place to take in the views of the Canyonlands. It's a nice vantage point to take in all those views. It was amazing. The Canyonlands is so big, you can go see it up close, but why not go see it from a vantage point? It's maybe a better perspective, and on this trip you'll be able to do that. And you're in a group with no more than 10 people. The level of rigor is not too rigorous. I mean, you get out of this trip what you want. You could stay close by, or if you were like myself, run around all these national parks taking pictures everywhere. It has a lot to offer. So it's a long day, but great experience. And then you go back and you do that last night at the Grand Vista Hotel. And then the guide is going to take you a bit further afield to see some more national parks in southern Utah. So we're talking about Capitol Reef, Bryce, and Zion national parks, 3 national parks. This trip is not 3 national parks. You're going to be doing 8 national parks in one trip. That's why I'm saying we're raising the antes, folks. This is a great trip. So Capitol Reef is amazing. It has lots to offer. It's really, you go there because it's along the way to Bryce and Zion, and it gives you a good feeling of the human, it gives you a bit of a human touch to national parks. You see petroglyphs, which are like drawings that were carved into the stone by people in the past. And there's also, like, you see the first homesteads of the first settlers that were to roam through southern Utah there in Capitol Reef too. That's kind of, very humbling. And then you go along to somewhere as unique as Bryce. Bryce is renowned for these rock formations that are in form of pinnacles. They're called hoodoos, very unique. And when you think that you can't get any better than that, you go to somewhere like Zion, which really blows you away. And then once again, this is on a small group escorted tour. You're going to do 2 nights in Springdale. Springdale, what a place. It's beautiful. I'm going there on my next vacation again. I loved it so much. And then the small group escorted tour is going to bring you back to Grand Junction. And from there, you'll do a quick train ride through to Salt Lake City. You're going to arrive late in the evening into Salt Lake City, and then we're going to tap in the Yellowstone experience. The Yellowstone experience, where you do the motor coach transfer up to Northwest Wyoming. You do as many nights as you please in Yellowstone National Park, either inside the park or right by the west entrance. Yellowstone, like the Grand Canyon, is one of the bigger national parks in the country. You can't really see it all in a day, so that's definitely somewhere where we can offer a recommendation. We can recommend to you to do a bit more time if you want. And then you do that really scenic stretch of rail from Salt Lake City through to San Francisco. Wake up early, see the sunrise in the Nevada desert, all the way through Northern California to the Bay Area, and you do 2 nights, and you have that experience where you go see Yosemite. What a trip! We're talking about 1 train route, but 8 national parks and a trip of lifetime. This is definitely a bucket list trip. So let's recap: Denver, Grand Junction, Yellowstone National Park, Yosemite. There we have it, folks. That's Upper Falls. If you were to go a bit closer to that, you'd be able to see Lower Falls. Then it's starting from $3,099. Once again, that's the starting from price based on double occupancy. For the least expensive time of year to go, based in coach accommodations with entry-level hotels. And you're looking at like just under a 2-week-long trip if you're starting in Denver, but we can start it from any one of the Amtrak stations in the country. So don't hesitate. Call us today, 1-800-268-7252, and explore all the different options with one of our expert travel consultants. We're here and pleased to help. Now let's look at the Grand Rail experience. Now this is quite a journey and quite an experience. The Grand Rail experience is, let's see, it's defined by, a lot of time on the train doing these more scenic train routes in the country. So altogether, we're looking at 7 nights on board a train, and we're looking at 6 nights in hotels. So it's more time on the train, less time in hotels, and you're doing all the way around the US of A. So we're starting out at Chicago. Chicago, you know, as I said, you can fly in, or we can start the trip from from your hometown, the nearest station from your hometown, and you do the most northern route with Amtrak, the Empire Builder route. 2 nights, 3 days. You're going through, Illinois, Wisconsin, into Minnesota. I really enjoyed seeing the start of the Mississippi River as we entered Minnesota there. And then you wake up, you're around about Devil's Lake, North Dakota. What a sunrise in North Dakota. It was a great opportunity to see with my own eyes what North Dakota has to offer, the beauty of it. And by the mid-afternoon, you're entering Montana, and then those rolling hills become mountains, and you cross places like Glacier National Park, all the way through to another overnight. You're going through in the middle of the night Idaho, and then you arrive to Seattle, Washington, and we bring you right into downtown Seattle. So right by Pioneer Square there, and we have hotels. Seattle is a lot more manageable city. I would call it more like a walking city. It's not a big city like New York or San Francisco. It's, for me, to get from one side of the city to the other, it's like maybe 20 minutes, half an hour walk, leisurely walk. I'm not running down the road. Really easy, or if you want to get around, you take a taxi or an Uber. Things are really close by. It's not as on a larger scale as I said before, the Big Apple or San Fran. And we can use 3-star, 4-star, 5-star properties. We have like the Fairmont, if you want, and we have like the Crown Plaza or the Hyatt Place. My go-to is the Crown Plaza. You walk down the hill, you're right at the harbor. You're a five-minute walk to Pike's Place Market. Pike's Place Market is not to be missed. Go sample all the delicacies that Seattle has to offer: seafood, delicacies of all sorts. A really fun city that has a lot to offer, and there'll be a sightseeing tour of the city of Seattle that's available with this package. But there's a lot of other sightseeing tours that can be offered. If you want to do like the City Pass, where you can go to the Space Needle, the Chihuly Gardens, which is at the foot of the Space Needle, which there's a lot of like glass statues that was done by the artist Chihuly. It's amazing. Or why not do a cruise and get it from the perspective of the water, the skyline of Seattle on the Seattle Sound, as it's called. Really a fun place. One of the gems that we have in the Northwest there. After your stay in Seattle, you'll do the overnight trip, 1 night, 2 days on the train on the Coast Starlight. Arguably one of the 2 best train rides in the country, especially for that stretch of rail between San Fran and Los Angeles. And you'll get late in the evening into downtown LA, right in the heart of the city, as I told you before, right by the Arts District. And then you're going to do a little stay in downtown LA, and there'll be the hop on, hop off sightseeing tour of Los Angeles. Now, what's the hop on, hop off? Well, these takes set routes in most big cities, and there's a number of hop on, hop off tour bus providers. So it'll bring you to all the areas of interest, and there'll be somebody to guide you along the way to tell you, narrate to you what it is that you see. A good way to take in what's on offer on the location so that you can then go out and explore, do it at your own pace. And this is something that's on offer with Amtrak Vacations. Now, going back to the level of customization that's on offer, we just have to take in consideration with this particular package that you're taking the Sunset Limited. The Sunset Limited is a train that ties LA to New Orleans. That train is the only train that's not a daily train. It runs 3 days out of the week. So if you want to add more times in LA, which most people tend to want to do, we just have to take in consideration the frequency of that train and tie it with the next departure. So it might not be for the 1 night stay that you would have to do, but we may have to do to, you just let us know and we can go to the drawing board and put together the package for you. So the Sunset Limited, you're taking the most southern route in the US. It's 2 nights, 3 days. And we're talking about a lot of deserts and the merits of traveling by deserts. In the deserts, it makes for great sunsets and sunrises, and you'll get to witness those on this trip as you reach New Orleans, or should I say the Big Easy. And the Big Easy, there'll be a sightseeing city tour of New Orleans. We have hotels for the most part in the Garden District or the French Quarter, and you'll get to sample all that New Orleans has to offer: Steamboat Natchez, Oak Alley Plantation, the swamp and bayou. Go see those gators. You name it. There's also, like, what I really enjoy, cooking classes in New Orleans to sample all the good food that's on offer in New Orleans. Or why not go Cafe du Monde and try the beignets in the morning? These are fun trips that will literally change you. So after your stay in New Orleans, we're actually east of the Mississippi now. We're taking the Crescent train. It's an overnight train through to Washington, D.C. You're gonna get early in the morning into Washington, D.C., right by the Capitol. You're hopping out of the station. We have a hotel that's right across the road, which is the Phoenix Park Hotel. That's our entry-level hotel, folks. That's 3 stars, but you don't even need a taxi to get there. You just cross the road and you're there. Or we can have you at the Holiday Inn Capitol, which is a little over a mile away. Or we have hotels right by DuPont Circle. For the most part, you're in and around the National Mall, and you're right at the doorsteps of all the Smithsonian museums. All those Smithsonian museums are free. You just have to request the admission through the Smithsonian website. We do, although, have admission to, like, International Spy Museum. We have admission to the Museum, which is the Museum of Media. And we have my favorite, the Monuments by Moonlight tour. You go see all the monuments when they're lit up at night, and you have a expert travel guide that's narrating all that it is that you see. So it's a very cultural experience in Washington, D.C., and it's not to be missed. Moving along, the Grand Rail experience, we're talking, once again, a 2-week-long trip, 14 days, 13 nights. That might vary if we're starting you out from somewhere other than Chicago. We also have a variation of this trip that would start you out, I believe, out of Los Angeles. You just let us know, and we can go to the drawing board and put together the trip for you. So this is your rail from point to point. This is your hotel accommodations. The variables to the cost would be like 3-star properties, 4 or 5-star properties. These rates can change depending on the time of year. The rail schedule's announced 11 months ahead of time. Be savvy about it, folks. The longer that you wait, the more the price is going to increase. Those who are savvy book these trips 8 months to a year out to get their first date of choice and to get the cost as low as possible. The longer that you leave it, the more the price is going to increase and the harder it's going to get that first date of choice. So give us a call today so that we can explain that to you and we can build the trip of a lifetime for you, a bucket list experience. And we also have in each one of these locations sightseeing tours to keep you busy. When you're at these locations, these are things that you want to do. These are like visiting the highlights of each one of these city destinations. So give us a call. This trip is starting from $1,749. Once again, that's the starting from price based on double occupancy, based on 2 people, for the least expensive time of year to go on the entry-level hotels, and the least expensive level on the train, which is coach. There's a lot of variables to the cost of these packages. We would want to discuss that with you some more and see where you fit in on the scale of things for these rail vacation packages. And once again, call us today, 1-800-268-7252, or why not go explore www.amtrakvacations.com to learn a bit more and see where it is that you want to go. Now, let's look at another one of our trips, a coast-to-coast trip, the Great American Majestic Landscape trip. So here you're literally going from New York all the way through to San Francisco. It's going to be 3 nights on a train, some scenic stretches of rail. Once again, it's the California Zephyr. It's basically, first you're starting off on one overnight on the Lakeshore Limited, and that's the train that you'll be taking east of the Mississippi. west of the Mississippi, it's going to be 2 nights, 3 days on the California Zephyr, or once again the Iron Horse, all the way through to San Francisco. So you start out with 2 nights in New York City, the Big Apple. We have hotels for the most part in Times Square or Midtown. And there's basically, we offer Broadway shows. There's the Hop On Hop Off City Bus. We got the City Pass in New York, where you get to see which gives you admission to all the top activities. Top activities being, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Empire State Building, just to name a few. And we offer like a number of Broadway shows, and we have premium seats at these theaters. So give us a call, and we can go over those options with you and see what would be happening on the days that you're there. And then you do an overnight trip through to Chicago. Chicago, once again, the main hub for Amtrak. Hotels a mile away from the train station, right in the heart of the city, right by Grant Park, or the very affluent part of Chicago, which is River Point North. And you can do the Hop On, Hop Off bus pass. Once again, we have the Chicago City Pass that gives you the top attractions in Chicago. That's the Shedd Aquarium, the Field Museum. You get to do the 2 vantage points in Chicago, which is the Sky Deck, the top of the former Willis Sears Tower there, and the 360 Chicago, which is the top of the former John Hancock. And it's quite a trip, quite a visit. Chicago is super affluent, beautiful architecture. We can add the architecture cruise if you would like. And then you do an overnight on the train to Denver. You would have gone up early to see the sunrise as you enter Colorado there. And you're at the Mile High City of Denver. And there we have we have the trip to the national park, the Rocky Mountain National Park, as I described to you before, by motor coach with an expert travel guide. Yeah, Denver is like a Seattle. It's very easy to get around, a fun city, a clean city, I would describe it as. And then you continue on, and you do another really scenic train ride, as I described to you, I believe 2 times already with two of the other products. All the way through to the West Coast to San Fran. In San Fran, you're going to have like a 2-night stay there, and we're going to take you through to Napa, Sonoma, go sample some of California's finest wines. We could do the gourmet wine train in Napa, Sonoma. The motor coach will bring you there. You take another train that's not provided by Amtrak, but it's an experience where you have lunch on board and you sample all the fine wines in Northern California there. So let's continue on. What are we talking about for on this trip? The Great American Majestic Landscapes. 12 days, just under a 2-week-long trip, depending on if you started from New York City or not. So you're rail from point to point. Hotel accommodations, once again, 3 stars all the way up to 5 stars. Think Holiday Inn all the way through to the Fairmont or Ritz-Carlton if you want, or Trump International. Something to meet everybody's budget's needs. And we have tours, hop on, hop off bus passes, city passes that gives you admission to all the top attractions. So give us a call and we can explain to you all that's on offer on the dates that you care to travel. And plan far out, folks. Be savvy. Get the cost as less as possible. If you're booking this last minute, you're going to be paying the higher price. If you're smart about it, you plan it out way ahead of time so that you get your first date of choice and you get the cost as low as possible. That's the nature of the beast. We're dealing with dynamic pricing. It's just like the airlines. As these trains and planes fill up, the price goes up. Now let's talk about the second most best-selling destinations that we have to offer, which is the Glacier National Park Express trip. Glacier National Park and the Grand Canyon are our 2 most popular trips. Glacier's very hard to get. Why is Glacier very hard to get? Because it's a very tight window where it is open. It's open from like June 6th all the way through to September 20th. And it's a very tight window that the national park's open. So it fills up pretty quickly. It's not like a big city. It's not your New York City or your San Francisco where there's hundreds of thousands of hotel rooms. It's a handful in comparison. And they give Glacier another, those glaciers are only going to be there for a couple more decades. So it's high demand, so book it far out to get your first date of choice and the cost as low as possible. So here, let's start it from the very beginning. What we're looking at is starting out in the Windy City, or we start you from anywhere you would care to start out of, anywhere where there's an Amtrak station, and you do a 2-night leisurely stay in the Windy City, one of the hotels that I described to you before. My two personal favorites are the Holiday Inn Chicago Mart Plaza, awesome property on top of a building, great views of the Chicago River. And then you also have the Palmer House by Hilton. Palmer House by Hilton, which is 8 blocks away from Union Station, 2 blocks away from the Art Institute in Grant Park in downtown Chicago. Very easy, very convenient. You're right where you want to be. You know, one's a 3-star, one's a 4 stars. Their rates vary. Sometimes you can get the Palmer House by Hilton at a lesser cost than the Holiday Inn. Sometimes the Holiday Inn can be at a better rate. You know, it all varies. It all varies depending on the time of year and how far ahead of time that you book. So then you do the overnight train on the Empire Builder, very scenic stretch of rail. You know, you're going leaving Illinois into Wisconsin, into Minnesota, waking up in North Dakota, and then you're doing a day train ride through North Dakota into Montana. So at some point in the afternoon, those rolling hills become mountains, and you arrive right at the doorstep of Glacier, at the historical property that was built over a century ago. I think it's 105 years old, the East Glacier Park. And you get off the train, and they'll come pick you up in the red Jammer vehicles that Glacier is renowned for, or you just take a nice stroll 200 feet to the front desk of the East Glacier Park Lodge. Lovely little gardens. Teepees are planted all throughout the garden there. And you have the experience at Glacier. Beautiful, beautiful historical property. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, there's timber beams. There's the restaurant there. They serve all types of local delicacies, bison ribs, river trout, huckleberry pies. What a trip, what an experience. They've kind of recreated an authentic experience from what it was way back when people used to take the Great Northern Rail a century ago. You know, it's a century old, so therefore, you know, the people would have started traveling there 100 years ago, and this is a very authentic experience. Now, when you're at Glacier, the 3 nights, 2 days that you spend on ground at Glacier, you're going to do 2 different tours. So there's a full day comprehensive tour of the national park, and there's 2 options for you. You can either do the Big Sky Circle tour or a tour that's provided by Sun Tours. So the Big Sky Circle tour, you're getting the tour of the national park from the perspective of a guide that works for National Park Services, and it's in the authentic red Jammer vehicles that Glacier is renowned for. Or you can do it with Sun Tours, which is an air-conditioned motor coach, and your expert guide is from the Blackfoot Indian Reservation. So you get it's very interesting to see the difference in perspectives that you get on either one of these tours. And then you have another day to see. I mean, this is where I got the best pictures of Glacier when I went there 2 years ago, was the 2 Medicine Valleys. You're going to have a day to go to the 2 Medicine Valley, do a little boat cruise that's an hour and 15 minutes long. You know, if you're going there in July or August, that's a better time to see the animals if you get there early or late in the evening. Not guaranteeing you that you'll see them, but if your eyes are peeled and you go there earlier in the evening, that might be one of the more favorable times to see those animals. And there's lots of nice, easygoing, mild trails to go and explore. You know, you can see beaver dams, waterfalls. That's all on offer at Glacier. And it's no surprise why it's one of our top best-selling trips, because it's a tight window where it's open. It's not going to be there for much longer. I mean, the glaciers that is, Glacier will always be there. And it's a very authentic experience that they've recreated. And it's not to be missed. It's a bucket list trip. It's a life-changing trip. Beautiful, amazing. The only word to describe it is majestic. These mountains are all surrounding, and you have the experience of the national park from the east side of Glacier. You know, Glacier is one of these bigger national parks like a Yellowstone or a Grand Canyon. You can't really see it all in a day. So you have the experience of going to East Glacier. You enter the national park by St. Mary's, which is a lovely little town, quaint. That's the entrance of the eastern part of the park. And then you're going to go on going to the Sun Road, all the way up to Logan's Pass. Logan's Pass is the highest point of going to the Sun Road, and that road is just, you know, 5-star views all along the way. You go by upper St. Mary's Lake, lower St. Mary's Lake, you see Goose Island. There's stops along the way to take pictures, see little ravines. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's you know, nature at its best. So you do the 3 nights at the national park, and then you're going to hop back on the train. You do evening departure, arrive early morning into Seattle. So by the time you get to Seattle, it's like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Gives you plenty of time on ground in Seattle to explore. As I described to you before, really easy, manageable city to get around. You know, I can walk from Pioneer Square to the Space Needle, I would say 15 minutes, and I'm not running, folks. I'm really not running. For some, it might take half an hour, but it's not long, and you're seeing things as you go by, and you're not far away from the harbor to take in the views from the water, or get yourself up to the Space Needle if you're not faint of heart and take it from way up above. And at the foot of the Space Needle, there's the amazing Chihuly Gardens. That was like one of the highlights of the trip. Call us today, 1-800-268-7252, or explore our website and see what tickles your fancy. So we're talking about a 10-day trip, 9 nights. We're going to be doing hotels in Chicago, Glacier, and Seattle. Starting from price, $2,399. And I'm not going to repeat, demystify the starting from price. We all know that it's double occupancy based on the least expensive time of year to travel. And there's a lot of variables, high level of customization that we offer to these rail vacation package folks. So this is your rail from point to point. This is your hotel accommodations, and there's a range of them, more so in the bigger cities than there are at the national park. At East Glacier, it's just a historical property, but Chicago and Seattle, there's a range of them. They're both big cities, and it's a trip of a lifetime. So give us a call so that we can explain to you, describe to you the level of customization that's on offer for these experiences by rail with Amtrak Vacations. Now let's go on to the rails to the Grand Canyon. I touched on this one a little while ago when we were describing about the level of customization. So if you were here from the beginning, you should know that it's an evening departure on the Southwest Chief. So very easy if you were to fly into LAX, you got plenty of time to make it to the train station. The train station is probably like 20 miles away. Just taking consideration, traffic in downtown LA can be, you know, a bit hectic at times at certain hours. So, you know, you want to plan accordingly for that. And then you do the evening departure on the Southwest Chief. You arrive early morning into Flagstaff, and arrive early morning into Flagstaff, and there's a quick motor coach transfer through to Williams, Arizona, where you'll have a good hearty breakfast at the Grand Canyon Depot Cafe. After that, you'll make your way, you know, you have the immersive experience, the cowboy shootout, as I described to you earlier. There's entertainers, reenactors to make, you know, to heighten the experience on this trip for you. And then you take the train that's not provided by Amtrak, but by the Grand Canyon National Park. It's a steam train, Pullman car sometimes, and it's a 2-hour and 15-minute train ride through the South Rim, where you're a stone's throw away from the South Rim itself, so you don't have far to go to take in all these wonderful views. And that is, you know, that's an understatement. Grand Canyon is just awesome. It's a natural wonder. It's awe-inspiring. It's life-changing. And there's a range of lodges, historical lodges that we use at the South Rim. Now, the demand for the Grand Canyon is huge, huge. You know, if you're planning on going this summer, book it far out ahead of time. A lot of people like to think alike and travel during that time of year, so the price might be a little bit higher. Good recommendations, words of advice. Maybe look at the shoulder time of year. That's like May, end of April, May, or end of September, October. And you can go to the Grand Canyon all year round. So plan ahead of time, get the cost as low as possible, and get to be able to get your first date of choice. So that's the experience for the rails to the Grand Canyon. Starting from $599, once again, based on level occupancy, least expensive time of year to go, entry-level hotels, and type of accommodation on the train. But, you know, that price can vary depending on a number of factors, and we can review those with you, no problem. Give us a call today, 1-800-268-7252, and we're happy to discuss it some more, or go browse the website and see all the other Grand Canyon packages that we offer. As I said before, I believe there's a lot of areas in and around the Grand Canyon that are not to be missed. You know, we offer packages to Sedona, Arizona. We offer packages to Glen Canyon, Lake Powell, Arizona. We offer, the tour would take you even to Horseshoe Bend, which is amazing. You know, you're going through the Navajo reservations to get to these areas of natural wonder. Arizona has a lot to offer. It's not only the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is the bigger thing to see, but there's all other things to enhance the experience. And if you would like, we can discuss that. Just give us a call, and we're happy to oblige. So let's look at the Pacific Northwest trip. The Pacific Northwest, starting from San Francisco, 2 nights in downtown San Francisco, either Union Square or Fisherman's Wharf. You do an overnight train on the Coast Starlight all the way through to Portland. Portland's very much like a Seattle, very manageable city, really easy to get around. We are contracted with a number of properties in downtown Portland, but my personal go-to where I stay when I go there, I go to the Benson Hotel. It's 0.5 miles away from the station in Portland, which is Portland Union Station, I believe. And Portland has, very easy to get around. We offer admission to the Historical Society. There's day trips that you can do to places outside of Portland in Oregon, beautiful state of Oregon. And then you do a quick train ride, which is like 3-4 hours up to Seattle. You go. These places are the gems of the Northwest. Very green, lush places to visit. Very manageable cities. They're fun places to go and visit, and they're not to be missed. And that's why we include them in this presentation about bucket list experiences. And other ideas is from Seattle. We're going back, tying this in with the level of customization that we offer. Why not go up to Canada? Vancouver, BC is not far away. The island of Victoria too. We've got a package that can do that. We can tie in these packages back to back. That's why you'd want to give us a call so that we can tailor make this package to your needs. There's a range of them, and that's what we're here to do. We'll consult with us, and we'll advise you on the best way to do this. All right. So once again, there's the Golden Gate Bridge in San Fran. There's all the attraction pass for all the things to do in Pier 39. That's where the barking sea lions tend to stay in Fisherman's Wharf. And you can also do a sightseeing tour of the Muir Woods in Sausalito. Sausalito is renowned for all these floating houses. And there's a little cruise where you get awesome views of the skyline of San Francisco from a distance from the water. And that's not to be missed either. It's awesome. Here we have it. One of the gems of the Northwest, Portland, Oregon. Hop on, hop off bus. There's also a dinner cruise. Oh yeah, I forgot the dinner cruise. The dinner cruise was pretty cool there. Very interesting, mixing up the perspective from rail with the perspective from the water. For those of you that have done river cruising or ocean cruising, rail is very unique. Why don't we tie the two together too? If you want to do something along the Mississippi River with a New Orleans getaway, we're happy to discuss that with you too. And then my favorite, Pike's Place Market in downtown Seattle. In Seattle, you have the sightseeing cruise, admission to the Space Needle Jubilee Gardens. So what are we talking about? This is a bit of a shorter trip. It's 8 days, 7 nights. You get to do 3 cities, 1 overnight on the train, starting from $1,399. That's the least expensive time of year based on double occupancy with the entry-level hotels and coach accommodation on the train. Choose the hotels that work the best for your needs. Sometimes we can get 4-star properties at a better rate than 3-star properties. It just depends on how much the hotels value your business. Sometimes rate changes. We have contracts in place with a number of hotels. There's other hotels that we can shop. So this is 3, 4, 5-star properties, Holiday Inn, all the way up to the Ritz-Carlton for you. Call us today, 1-800-268-7252 to discuss it some more. Now, packing, a lot of people ask about packing on the train with Amtrak. The allowance is ample. It's more so than what you would get on an airline. And if you're flying into one of these trips, Yeah, just sticking with the restrictions that you would get with the airlines. So passengers are allowed 2 free carry-on bags as well as 2 check bags. Luggage can be checked in 45 minutes prior to departure. So there's no need to rush. No need to rush. And between you and I, kind of stick with the check-in allowance so that you're not waiting for your checked-in bags to actually, you want to hit the ground running, travel light, wear layers. So onboard accommodations. So let's talk a bit about the range of type of accommodations on board Amtrak. So there's a number of them. So first of all, the entry level accommodation would just be the seat in the coach section. Ample leg room. You got room to roam on the train. It's the inexpensive way to travel. And then there's also 2 types of private compartment sleeping compartments. There's what's known as roomettes, and there's bedrooms. Now they're both private compartments that fit up to 2 people. If you're taking the trains west of Mississippi, the meals are included in the dining car. If you're taking the trains east of the Mississippi, you're going to have a ready-to-serve meal. And the major difference, if you will, is that the bedroom's bigger. The bedroom has a restroom and shower. Here, let me show you. This is the roomette. So roomette, upper and lower bunk that the sleeping car attendant will make, maybe when you're having your meal in the dining car. A picture window. The restroom and shower is just down the hall, and there's there's a number of them. And two adults per roomette. You get 2 comfy seats, 2 beds, electrical outlets, fold down table, and plus all meals are included, coffee, turn down service, water bottles, linen. The sleeping car attendant is there. You're definitely going to give him a little tip because he really makes the experience a special one for you. He's on board to help with your every needs. And this is an example of what the bedrooms are. The bedroom, upper and lower bunk, but this time bigger compartments, and you have a restroom and shower within it. So it's like basically the 2 seats. It's like a seat, and then you have a bench. And when you put down the upper and lower bunk, your feet are kind of towards the window. So this is what you should expect when you travel on board Amtrak. So we're talking about coach, roomette, and bedroom accommodations. So you get all the amenities in the bedroom that would be included in the roomette. And yeah, there's also room for 2 suitcases. So the carry-on allowance is a bit more. Once again, plus all free meals are included, coffee, turn down service, and linens. So freedom to get out of your seat and move around. You don't get to do that much on a plane, but on a train, it's at your leisure. On the top right-hand corner there, you get an example of the enhanced windows that you would see in the observation car. On the bottom left-hand side there, you have a picture of a father with his kids in the that's not the dining car, that's the cafe car. Top left hand, that's the space that you get in coach. Bottom right, that's the amount of space that you get for your carry-on. You can bring 2 items that fit in the your check-in would fit in the overhead compartment there. So there's ample space. The allowance is aplenty. Now let's go check my favorite, the dining car. So as I said before, all these trains west of the Mississippi River. Oops, I went too far there. I apologize. This is the example of the dining car that you would get on one of those trains, on the Superliner trains west of the Mississippi. You get to mingle with people. You get to talk about where they're coming from, where they're going. It's a social experience in the dining car. And the dining car attendants are serving. There's an actual kitchen on the lower level where they're serving you, a variety of dishes. We're talking like surf and turfs, nice steaks, nice fish cakes, good salads. And this would be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You might want to tip the dining car attendants. You tip them what you think the service is worth. But the 2 people that you're going to want to tip on a trip like this would be the sleeping car attendant and the dining car attendants. And they really go out of their way to make the experience a special one for you. Moving along, explore our website. So let me help you navigate through our website. You go into www.amtrakvacations.com. On the top left-hand corner, there's the Amtrak Vacations logo. under that logo, there's a number of tabs that are really fun to click on. There's all types of drop-down menus that appear. Like if you click on destinations, that's going to be like names of parts of cities in the US that we have like a number of packages to go and explore. The next one is vacation types. Now, vacation types here at Amtrak Vacations, we essentially do 3 types of packages. There's city getaways, rail experiences, like the Grand Rail experience that we covered earlier before, which is kind of defined by the majority of the time on board the train. There's still some nights hotels that you can see certain parts of the US. And there's trips to national parks, or there's trips coast to coast. Or we also do, I forgot to mention, rail and sail. I brushed on it earlier when I was talking about river cruising, but we do at Amtrak Vacations rail and sail packages up to Alaska. And those are like definitely bucket list trips too that we could have included in this catalog, but having so many options to explore, we want to kind of streamline it for you and present to you our best-selling trips. But we do train rides up to Seattle, and you do cruises all the way up to Alaska, going by Glacier Bay, Ketchikan, Skagway. Those are other destinations that we could have included. There's a lot to explore on the website. Another good useful tab is blog, where there's a number of webinars like the one that you're witnessing today. There's other ones that have been done by other people within Amtrak Vacations that will give you their 50 cent on their experiences doing these trips. We're all passionate about travel, and we just like to share it with you, and that's another way to discover what's on offer. And let's not forget too, a lot of questions can be answered that you'll maybe have in due course under trip planning, which is on the far right-hand side of the website there. You know, meals and dining, baggage guidelines, onboard the train, the different levels of accommodation, passport and identity. There's a wealth of information, a plethora of information in these tabs, but sometimes it's hard to know where to find them if you don't know where to click. That's why you would just want to call us today, 1-800-268-7252, and we're happy to point those out to you to steer you in the right direction and get you on board one of these trains in the very near future. Now, how do you book with Amtrak Vacations? It's pretty simple. You know, we want to make it easy for you. We're the experts. You call us on the phone. I've said the number or contact telephone number countless times. I'm not going to do it again. Or you go onto our website, or even better, why not go to your local travel agent? We work with travel agents throughout the whole of the U.S. Absolutely, there's probably not a travel agency that we don't work with. We're friendly people, and the travel agents love us. So go see them, and you can book through your local travel agent. I'm not going to give any names. We work with most of them, so they know who to call. So give us a call, or go to your local travel agents, and they'll give us a call. Either way works, and we're happy to assist, whether it's yourself or indirectly through a travel agent. So give us, you know what to do. Everyday discounts. There's children get a discount, so 2 to 12 receive 50% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak Vacation. Seniors, travelers age 65 and over receive a 10% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak Vacation package. And active duty military personnel, their spouses and their dependents, their immediate family, receive a 10% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak Vacation as a thank you for their service. So these are the discounts that are available on the rail portion of a package. But at the same time, back on the website, we do mix up the promos sometimes. So take a look out at those too. You know, every now and again, there's promotions that can help you, entice you to want to book at a certain time. But always think of planning really far out ahead of time so that you get the cost as low as possible and you get your first date of choice. So, you know, these could be for trips for Niagara Falls or Arches National Park, or why not the Grand Tetons National Park out there in Wyoming, neighboring Yellowstone. You know, there's Grand Tetons. That's another majestic mountain range not to be missed. Or like, you know, trips to Seattle. But as a thank you for attending the webinar today, I want to extend to you a special upgrade offer, an exclusive attendee offer of $100 off your next booking. So this can be applied to any Amtrak vacation package or custom rail vacation, minimum 2 nights hotel, sightseeing, and rail. You'll find the certificate available to you in your inbox after this webinar, and give us a call and we can look at customizing a trip for you. And that discount will apply as long as there's 2 nights accommodation, rail, and at least one tour. So we want to ease you into this experience of traveling by rail. This is why we're extending this promotion. So don't miss out and give us a call. And then don't forget to download your handouts. As I pointed out at the beginning of the presentation, the handouts are on the top, on the right-hand side of the webinar presentation. Download them, feed yourself off all the information that's provided within them. And if you have any questions, feel free to input your questions right here. Now let's see, I've been motor mouthing my way through this whole presentation. Let's take a second to view some questions. All right. Let's see. So first question, let's see, is this being recorded and viewed at other times? Well, yeah, we're going to put this at some point up on the website for you to view. There's, when I put it out on the website under the blog, there are presentations that have been done in the past by my colleagues, and there's a wealth of information provided in those presentations. So go ahead and view those if I haven't answered the question that you're looking for, or give us a call. Is full payment due at time of booking, or can payments be stretched? Yeah, so it's a nominal deposit to lock in the price and the availability of any one of these trips. Full payments always due 60 days prior to departure. And as long as you're booking outside of 60 days prior to departure, if you're smart and savvy and you're booking it a year to 8 months out, as most people do, you can stagger those payments as you will. You just have to give us a call so that we can process those payments for you. No problem. Do you ever offer discounts for solo travelers? Now, solo travelers, well, you get the same discounts as everybody else. It's just a question of the way that we present the marketing. The marketing I appreciate is presented on the basis of double occupancy, and some people like to travel on their own. And traveling by rail is a very social experience, so you get to meet people. Some people I hear that are solo travelers come back and they get a travel companion, and the next time they're booking on the basis of double occupancy. But if you're traveling on your own, you're still paying, what you're paying for is for your hotel rooms. You're paying for the level of accommodation. I know you're seeing the price, the starting from price, and you're thinking that, well, is that the price I'm going to be paying, or do I have to multiply that by 2? It's a little bit less than if you multiply by 2, because but yeah, there are discounts for solo travelers. They're just the same as what they are for everybody else. We're very popular with solo travelers because of how unique it is to travel by rail. Quite often I'm on the phone and I hear people that, oh, I just got back from a trip and I discovered somebody else that I can go traveling with, and they want to go out and do some more trips. So let me see what other questions we have here. All right. Do you have an Old West package offering Dodge City, Deadwood, Tombstone tours, or something like that? I mean, the closest that you're going to get to that is the Grand National Parks of the Southwest, that kind of taps onto all those parks in southern Utah that we talked about, and the Grand Canyon National Park. Now let's see, what observation car are we competing with everyone on the train? Well, everybody gets a turn in the observation car. You're going to want to more than likely have your meal in the dining car. So there's like a little rotation that goes on, that happens, and everybody gets their turn. If not, underneath the observation car, there's the cafe car, and you got nice views from there too. Or you can take in the views from your private compartment, sleeping compartment. But everybody gets kind of a turn in the observation car. Nobody will not get an opportunity to be in there. So thanks for the downloadable brochure. Is there still the big trip that includes Glacier, Yellowstone, Yosemite? There sure is. So, the first product that I talked about, the Grand National Parks, Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Grand Canyon. Well, there's like 3 variations of that. And one of them is, of course, the Grand National Park, Glacier, Yellowstone, Yosemite, as well as the third being Glacier, Yosemite, and Grand Canyon. So those are definitely the more popular ones where you're doing good mixture of the scenic train routes and 3 of the major national parks. Now, it looks like I've gone. Do you have a package offering Orlando, Universal, Disney, SeaWorld? Um, we could do the rail to Orlando for you. Could do hotels in Orlando. Universal, yeah, we have hotels right in West Hollywood for you. You would just have to get the passes for Universal independently. Same as with SeaWorld. I believe that's down in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. Are there, let's see, what other questions do I see here? All right. Is full payment due at time of booking, or can I pay? Oh, yeah, so we already answered that. So yeah, it looks like I've covered all the questions here. I'm really happy that I hope you found this very informative. I hope I planted the seed to travel. Sometimes I'm here booking train tickets, sometimes I'm booking city getaways, and sometimes I'm booking journeys, bucket list experiences, and that's what I tried to share with you today. So I hope you found it informative. I hope that you want to explore these options some more, and you know where to find us if you do. And I wish you a pleasant day, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity to speak to you on the phone at some point in the near future. So have a great day, and keep well, and speak with you soon. So bye for now.